When we arrived at the Hemis Festival in 1986, it felt less like attending an event and more like stepping into a community gathering that had simply been happening for centuries. There were no tickets, no barriers, no designated viewing areas. You just walked in. Locals arrived on foot, families settled along the edges of the courtyard, monks moved freely between preparation and performance. A handful of foreigners were there, so few that we stood out without meaning to, but no one treated us as an audience. We were simply present. The monastery courtyard filled slowly. There was no rush, no announcements, just the steady sense that something meaningful was unfolding on its own schedule. When the Cham dances began, they didn't feel theatrical. The masks were elaborate, the costumes heavy and symbolic, but nothing was exaggerated for effect. These were ritual movements, repeated year after year, not for visitors, but for the community itself. Expressions of protection, renewal, and the constant struggle between wisdom and ignorance. Drums echoed against the monastery walls. Long horns sent low vibrations through the air. The rhythm was deliberate, almost hypnotic. Time stretched. People watched quietly, some speaking softly, others completely absorbed. What struck me most was how unstaged everything felt. There were no microphones, no commentary explaining what we were seeing. Meaning wasn't delivered. It was something you absorbed slowly, or not at all, depending on how open you were to it. In 1986, Hemis was not a destination. It was an occasion, a moment when the monastery opened itself fully to the valley, and the valley answered by showing up. The monks were not performing for us. They were fulfilling a responsibility, maintaining a cycle that linked the present to the past. Watching them, it was clear that this festival was not about spectacle, it was about continuity. Looking back now, decades later, it's hard not to notice the contrast. Today, Hemis is famous. Tickets are sold, crowds arrive from far away, cameras are everywhere. But that year, standing in the courtyard with dust underfoot and mountains rising above the walls, it felt intimate, quietly powerful, like being allowed into something not meant to be explained, only experienced.